Sunday School Under Quarantine proudly presents Jonah and the Love of God. Did you know that even in the Old Testament, which is mainly about the Jews, God still loved the rest of the world and cared about what they were doing? In Jonah's time, there was a city called Nineveh. It was a large city for the time, with 120,000 people living in it. They were not Jews, and were known for worshiping false gods, not the Lord God. God knew they were doing very bad things, and called his prophet Jonah to go and cry against it. He told Jonah to let them know that he was not pleased and was planning to destroy them. This upset Jonah because he knew they were very bad people, and he knew God delights in having mercy on people, so he didn't want to give them that chance. Jonah decided to run from God. He quickly went to a port city called Joppa and paid money to get on a ship that was going to another port city called Tarshish. This was about as far in the opposite direction as he could go. Once he got on the ship, he went down inside of it to go to sleep. After they got underway, a bad storm hit, and everyone but Jonah was scared. The captain told everyone to pray and went down to wake up Jonah because he wanted everyone to pray. When Jonah learned what was happening, he told everyone on the ship that it was because of him that they were in grave danger because he was running from God. They asked him what they should do, and he said, "Throw me overboard." But they didn't want to do that. Eventually they did, and as soon as they did, the storm stopped. But God prepared a whale to swallow Jonah. Now Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Do you know another story where someone was not around for 3 days and 3 nights? Yes, when Jesus was crucified and buried, the Bible tells us he was in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah said that the whale took him down into the bottom of the sea, and he even had seaweed wrapped around his head. He cried unto the Lord, and the Lord heard his prayer even there. He can hear your prayers anywhere. So God made the whale vomit him up onto dry ground. What an epic 3 days and 3 nights Jonah had. But now he decided to obey God and went to the great city of Nineveh. The Bible tells us that that city was so large, it took Jonah 3 days to walk across it. He started out telling them that God is not happy with the way they are living, and that they have only 40 days until the city will be overthrown. That means that God intended to have another king take them over. They would probably become slaves, or at least servants, to whoever God let take them over. When the king heard this, he asked everyone to stop eating and drinking and to put on sackcloth, a very uncomfortable outfit. He told them to do the same with their animals, who were not happy about that. But the king was serious and wanted everyone else to be serious. He told them to cry mightily to God and change their minds about the bad things they had been doing. He went on to say that maybe, just maybe, God would have mercy on them. Guess what? God did. Remember, Jonah knew that God delights in having mercy, and he knew that God's nature is to be merciful when people change their mind and ask God to forgive them. This is why Jonah did not want to go in the first place. These were not Jews, but God still had mercy on them. This made Jonah very angry. After he did what God told him to do, he went outside the city and found a spot where he could watch to see the judgment that God would perform on the city. He didn't know yet what God would decide to do, or what the people had done. Remember, these people were not nice. They had even been very mean to the Jews. Even though God knew what Jonah was thinking, he still wanted him to keep from getting too hot in the sun. So he made a plant grow up big enough to shade Jonah. That is some fast-growing plant, right? But remember, God can do anything, like have a whale ready and waiting to swallow him, and he spoke the world into existence. So having a plant grow up in 1 day is nothing for God. Jonah sat in the shade of the plant and was happy that the plant was there. The next day, God prepared a worm that would eat the plant and make it fall away so that it did not shade Jonah anymore. He then had the wind and sun beat on Jonah, so much that Jonah wanted to die. Jonah got angry and told God, "I knew you would do this. I knew you would have mercy on these people." So God asked him if he thought he was right being angry. He reminded him how happy he was that the plant had shaded him, and how upset he was when it didn't anymore. And he reminded him that Jonah did not make the plant, but God did make the people of Nineveh. And he explained to Jonah that he could have compassion on these people because he said they didn't even know their right hand from their left. He was saying that they were not the smartest people, but they had asked for mercy. Now Jonah made some incredible statements about the character of God that all of us should pay attention to. He said that God is gracious, merciful, slow to anger, very kind. And Jonah knew that it was in God's character to be that to everyone, not just to the Jews. This is exactly why, when God sent his Son, he had the angels sing, "Tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people." God made a way for all people to get the mercy of God. You, me, your friends, and even mean people. Remember, he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and very kind. Right now, while you are young, you should make sure you have a good relationship with God. And then you can grow old with Him. How? By asking God to forgive you, to save you, and to help you. And remember, no matter who you meet, even if they are very mean, God does not want them to go to hell. If God can love the Ninevites and want to save them, He can love and save anyone. Thank you for watching.